what's up, car shipping rock stars? It's your girl Ashley from ReloGeek.com, and on today's podcast, we're talking about an email that I got from a beautiful Kendra, who's asking, I read the blog on starting a car hauling business, great content. Is there a way to be successful in this business without getting a CDL, meaning piggybacking off of drivers with CDL by allowing truck drivers to work as independent contractors, me securing the contracts and running the administrative side of it? Is this feasible? Now, she's mentioning a bunch of different things, but this is my message to Kendra, and the reason I wanted to share this on this podcast is because I feel like many of you guys have the same concepts and are thinking about this. So before I get started, you don't have to have a CDL to start a car hauling business. Let me just say that again. You do not have to have a CDL to start a car hauling business. But to get insured, you will need a person with a CDL listed as a driver. And in order for your authority to be active, you need to have a truck with insurance, because the DOT, Department of Transportation, or FMCSA, can audit you at any point in time within the first 30 days of you signing up for your authority and being approved. So it's said that you need to get a truck and a trailer within that 30-day period and insure it, because if you get audited, you can get shut down before you even get started. And to get insured, you have to have a CDL. So these things go hand in hand. So, Kendra, if your goal, or anyone out there, if your goal is to hire someone, you need to hire them before you get your insurance so you can add them to the policy. And that's a whole problem within itself. Unless you know this person personally, you're telling somebody, I'm going to hire you, I need your license information, but I don't have the equipment yet. And then, if they have a horrible driving record or a new CDL, then you're going to pay a premium, right? Because this is the only person on your policy. But I'm not an insurance agent, so you'd have to look into that yourself. So if you're listening to this, don't take my word for golden. Go look into it, contact insurance companies and see. But in auto relocation, my experience has been, back when I had my car hauling business, it was different. Yes, it was hard to insure dualies. However, it was not as bad of as many accidents as there are now. Companies just do not want to touch dualies, pretty much. So it's hard. And insurance is super, super expensive. So you're going to pay a lot of money. You're paying a lot more for dually than you probably would a car hauler. That's just from my own personal research and starting businesses for people in Florida. However, again, I'm not an insurance agent, so check with it. Now, you mentioned piggybacking. So as far as piggybacking off a driver, you're probably meaning, can you have an authority and lease drivers on? And if that's the case, then it's a lot more complicated than if your goal, it's a lot more complicated if your goal isn't to have a truck. Because most people that lease others on have trucks of their own. So there's nothing to add. So if you already had a company and you have your authority and you have your truck on there, and then you're like, I want to make some extra money, I'm going to let this guy run under my authority, then you can do that. And you just add them on, you have their truck, you do all the paperwork you need to do, and they would pay whatever fuel taxes, you would collect their receipts and things like that from them if they're traveling outside the state. It's a little bit more complicated still, but it's not as complicated as you solely creating an authority to lease people on. Now, the second part of your question about securing contracts and running admin, that's more like you becoming a dispatcher or even someone hiring you as a freelance business manager. Now, your questions are not completely clear, as they're all different things. So my advice to you is to figure out what you want most. Why do you want to be in trucking? And this is for anybody that's listening to this. Why do you want to be in trucking? If you don't want to take the steps to get your CDL, if you don't want to take the steps to start a business, if you're not passionate about doing it, what is your motivation? And I'm just speculating here, but Kendra, it seems that your motivation here is purely money-based, which I would then ask if you have experience. So if you're listening to this and you are like, yo, I heard that you can make a lot of money in trucking, so you want to get into it. Do you have experience? If no, then maybe you need to start a different business. And if you're starting this business and you are trying to drive a tractor trailer or trying to start with a dually setup, and you're down to go through the learning process, then that's different. But if you're not, and you're just trying to fast track your way to success, then you need to start another business. And in this case with you, Kendra, my thing is, I want to know, are you doing it for the money, and do you have experience in finding loads? You said something about securing contracts, running the administrative side of the business. Do you have experience in this? Because you can't just get out there and mess up these drivers. These are their livelihoods. So if you're saying, I'm going to be responsible for getting you loaded, finding contracts for you, but you have no trucking experience whatsoever, you are not helping these truck drivers, and you are adding to the already complicated, stressful life that a truck driver already has. And I do not advocate for that. So for people that are listening, if you see truck drivers as an opportunity to make money quickly, and you think, oh, I can do this, this, and this, trucking is different. It's not your typical, I'm a freelancer, I'm a virtual assistant type of business. If you don't know about trucking, you don't know the language, you don't understand logs, if you don't understand rules and regulations, if you don't know how to route people, if you don't know how to dispatch people, if you don't know what's a good amount of money, then this is not the business for you to play around with, because these are people's livelihoods. It's bad enough that truck drivers don't make what they should make for the risk that they take every single day that they get behind the wheel of that truck. Truck drivers, even myself, I still have a CDL. If I get pulled over for the smallest little thing, I can lose my trucking license, because what cops say, you're a professional driver and you should know better, right? It's not the same. So these guys every single day are risking their lives, and being out there, and I do not advocate for somebody seeing them as an opportunity to get rich. If you want to do something in this industry because you want to make money, there's so many businesses you can start in this industry or outside this industry that don't revolve around somebody putting your eggs in your basket and then you basically cracking every single one of them. And I'm not saying that's your intent, Kendra. Please do not take this the wrong way, or anybody out there, do not take it the wrong way. I'm just extremely passionate about doing right by people, and I see every day. I've been a truck driver for many, many years, and I know what it's like being out there and the mental stress that these drivers go through, the underpay, all that stuff. I am pro, if you know what you're doing, I'm pro you helping them because they can use all the help they can get to even compete with the brokers. I'm pro that. But what I'm not pro is someone taking advantage of them and going out there without any experience and risking somebody else's life. If you want to do that for yourself, then go ahead. So with that, I hope you found this helpful. Anybody that's listening, if you're trying to start your car hauling business, I do have a car hauling business course that will walk you through the business side of car hauling. You can find out more information and join the course over at haulandhustle.com. That's HAULAND hustle.com. And I'm Ashley from RealGeek.com. Now get out there and make moves happen. I will talk to you guys in the next video or podcast.